Let me see what I'm gonna bet. And he thinks I don't have queen jack. Okay, guys, tough decision. Just call it. All right, guys. I think we are live. And just as the last time, first 3 minutes, before we start playing some hands, to have some people enter. I was going over my pre-session hands. I already watched 18 hands. Remember, these were hands that I go through before playing. That for me demonstrate a certain concept that I want to have top of mind while playing. I don't know which this hand is. I have ace 5. Okay, yeah, so this is, I think, is for example a good example of a hand. For me, it clearly shows I'm trying to trap a fish. Oh, sorry. No. Ooh. Fun player. Luckily, no one watched yet, so for the fun player. And in general, I think I have like 6 hands in here in my pre-session hands where I try to trap a fun player. Yeah, that basically against fun players, I want to kind of save my checks for bluff catching. And if I have a good hand, I want to focus more on just trying to get as much money in as possible. And sometimes I guess I still kind of fall victim of a sort of trappy mindset. For example, I would have liked to see myself lead here with the 10 jack of spades. Because he's going to bet very polarized on the river. I do think if I check, he will bluff. I mean, that's kind of actually what you see quite often here with fun players. That they don't value bet thinly, but if he has 9-10, he will bluff. But I think a hand like 10 jack of spades is definitely strong enough to just bet out itself. And I would just reserve bluff catching for a hand like queen 7 suited or whatever. Bad hero call. And then mainly I don't mean like, I shouldn't make bad hero calls. Oh, really? But there's like a concept behind when something, like I have some good hero calls in here and I have some bad hero calls in here. And by looking at them before I start playing, I kind of, I can see that. I can start seeing the difference. I think this actually was another example that I tried to slow play, or I tried to play it passively and the fun player just got with an 8. Fuck my life. So yeah, I think that's definitely, so you guys can hold me accountable. If I try to slow play or versus fun players with very strong hands like here, that's, you guys should say, Mr. Wakko, that's not what we agreed upon doing this session, right? And then I'll say, you're very right. That was a clear mistake by me. All right, but without further ado, let's get into some action, huh? I know that's what you guys are here for. So am I, actually. And as always, I'm your player and your DJ in the same time. You know, since we cannot have any parties due to the Corona situation, we bring the party to the Twitch stream. That's kind of how it works, right? Calling. We'll be raising this flop. Calls, interesting turn. You look at what I'm raising on the flop. This exact hand. What do I want to do with this exact hand? I mean, I can have deuces, 7s, I can have some boats. Boats don't really want to bet big. However, there are some hands that want to bet big. Yeah, I think this hand wants to bet big. He could, if he had a better king like ace, king, king, queen, he could have 3-bet the flop some of the time. So I think it's very likely that we have the best hand. I think he can call us with worse, he can fold some draws, so all goodness with that sizing. Number 1, the fun player min raised, the small blind called. I decided to try to flop a straight. We're almost there. That's not it, but it's not a bad card. He did pot the flop though, so a little bit concerned. He does decide to slow down a little bit, which I'm happy for, because You know, I'm Dutch, so we like discounts. And this was the focus point, guys. We shouldn't try to trap with strong hands versus a fish. I'm just gonna bet big, see if he calls me. Like something like a jack or something. That's why you set focus points, guys. That is why you set focus points. What did he call me with? Yeah, you see, he would have checked that behind. Same if I'm around someone who has a very strong accent, without me wanting to, I actually start to copy his accent. We have two hands here. We have the 5-6 suited where we get 3-bet. We call and flop a 6. And the jacks, he's still debating. If he 4-bets, we're probably calling. He 4-bets. We call. We flop decent, I would say. Not bad, not bad. And on table 2, we call as well. And we turn decent. See, I think there's not a lot of reason here to raise, even though we have quite a lot of equity. Can we get better draws to fold? I think I'm gonna jam it in. And on table 1, gonna check call here with the jacks. Interesting turn. And then I'll get back to the 5-6 suited. He has a hard time in this hand pre-flop as well. Think. Ooh. Where is bluffs? Should we fast play this? I mean, we block. Jack. Yeah, I'm gonna fast play this. There are some action killers versus a hand like ace queen, aces. Like for example, an 8 would have been action killer. I was debating calling, and then if an action killer would come, I would probably bet out myself. That was kind of what I was debating. Let's say, the thing is, like, we cannot really call rivers unimproved. So yeah. But we will get bluffed by a hand like Jack 9 suited, Queen 9 suited, Jack Queen. I think these are all hands that are probably going to bluff me, all of rivers. And yeah, then we're gonna fold. I mean, if an 8 or a 9 comes, you could say we could maybe bluff, but I think then, basically if he checks on a 9, for example, I think he will follow through on his bluffs mainly, so then he probably has a check call, as we can still have ace queen. I don't know, I just thought that playability on rivers would be quite poor. Looking at it. So that's why I decided to jam. Basically, it's like some bluff prevention. And I mean, yeah, if we get called, we have quite a lot of equity. So I don't really mind it. I don't think, in my head as well, I thought we could make him fold a better draw, but I don't actually think that that is really the case. Stay away here. We have a cold 4-bet. He calls. You can play this flop a couple of different ways. I'll go for the small bet. It's gonna be quite hard for him to defend if you look at how it goes range versus range. You can also start checking back and maybe induce some things. I think kings with the club, it's a bit harder to get called by a worse hand. I think we should probably just check. If I had kings without a club, I could maybe consider I could consider blocking again, getting called by a king high flush draw or something. But yeah, that's now not really the case. And I think versus block, we kind of have to call. Even though I'm not very happy about it. Yeah, 2 aces. Okay, we got away quite cheaply there. That's good, that's good. Barrel on the turn. And I think on the river we have check. With this exact hand, I mean, we're not blocking any middling hands that he could be c-betting, like 9-10, jack-9, but then again he could also be checking back like some queen-jack. What I think. I think I want to see what he has. Yeah, it's the queen 10. It's kind of the thing. I'm not really sure what his c-betting frequency is here on the flop. Versus guys who have a little bit of a lower c-bet would check back these type of hands more often. So yeah, I guess that's what you could decide it on. I think that's kind of the main factor. So versus a high c-bet, I think we have a good call on the river. Versus a lower c-bet, I think we don't have a good call on the river. Because basically, yeah, he has to show up with bluffs, and the bluffs are 2 cards in the middle of the 7 and the queen, I would say. Those are like its most likely hands. But those could also be good checking candidates. Hey, I ran across your YouTube channel and really have liked the videos. Thank you very much. Very helpful stuff. The bluffing one really helped me alter my thought processes. That's kind of, I'm really hoping that that's kind of your takeaway from the video, because especially actually in any field, people like to copy what other people say, but I think that's especially true in poker. So once a couple of people start to steer poker in a certain way, then everyone just kind of follows without thinking about it for themselves. And I don't think this is not necessarily very beneficial. So when I started to make content, I really wanted actually I started to make content because I thought I had a different way of approaching the game, a different philosophy towards the game, a different way of thinking. So I thought I could bring something to the current poker industry which was lacking. So yeah, I'm really happy, especially like I focus a lot with my students as well on thought processes, because that's usually where I see go wrong. We decided to limpy with the ace-8, and the flop is not very favorable. But I think with exactly this hand, we probably have to do something, right? Let's make a raise. Turn. Actually turn a pair. A pair is not necessarily that bad, huh? This doesn't really make much sense in my opinion. Why would you min bet here? Okay, I have no fucking clue what's going on in this head. Huh? This guy's fucking with me. Interesting river. What the fuck is going on in this hand? Ha! That was the weirdest hand I've ever played. Nah, that's not true. Ever played on stream. I mean, only streamed twice, so it's not very hard to do. That was a weird hand. Are you in the chat? Are you in the chat, Mr. Patula? And are you just trying to see how I will respond? That was a weird hand. That was a very weird hand. But he didn't bite, huh? He didn't bite. Oh, fellow poker ambition coach explode in the mix. Trying to limp in from the small blind. Sir. 6-7 suited. Queen Jack. Good hand. Can kind of go either way. Quite a low number, so I'll go for a check. And we hit. We hit. We hit. We hit. We hit. This is quite a good song, guys. I have to say. Let me see what I'm gonna bet. And he thinks I don't have Queen Jack! Okay, guys, tough decision. Just call it. Ah, worst river in the deck. How does this river come? Seriously. A pair and a flush. Like you would say, don't pair the board. Don't bring a flush. What do? They do both. And basically now everything got there. So 4-6, not really worth much. Oh, he overbets. Don't have a club. Which is actually good at that I don't have a diamond. Because if he decides to continue bluffing, it's probably with a diamond. I think I still have to call. As I said, it's probably good that I don't have a diamond, because if he decides to bluff, it's probably with a diamond. Quite a... trapping me pre-flop. Oh, it's this guy. This guy's from the Philippines, guys. The Philippines represent. Probably not gonna be a white Christmas in the Philippines. But he's trying to trap me. I think probably should 3-bet most of the time. I don't think you should check raise the turn. I was thinking more of a hand like ace jack. Ace queen could be, but I thought also maybe a hand like, I don't know, ace 3 with a diamond, or random ace diamond with an 8, something like that. Or maybe like 3-9 suited.